Hey guys, it's Sammy, and this is my spoiler-free review for A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This book in particular is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but later books in the series will be different retellings. This is a high fantasy novel as it takes place in a world that is separate from our own. This world is split by a wall. On one side of the wall there is the mortal lands, and then on the other side of the wall is Prythian, a fairyland, along with its island Hybern. In the mortal lands we find our main character Farah, who is struggling to feed her family in the dead of winter. Farah's family has become very divided and harsh against each other, especially after the loss of their wealth. Her sisters Nesta and Elaine, along with their father, don't do much for the family, so Farah must provide for the family by hunting. One day when Farah is hunting, she comes across a wolf, and fearing that the wolf will eat the deer that she is trying to shoot, she shoots the wolf. Fast forward a few days and a beast comes barging through her door telling her that she did not just kill a measly wolf, but she has actually killed a fairy. This beast gives her an ultimatum: either be slaughtered on the spot or come with him and live out the rest of her days in Prythian. She chooses the latter and then of course is whisked off to the magical land of fairies. So let me start off by saying I love this world. I think it's captivating, I think it's fascinating, I think it is so creative. The fairy world of Prythian is split up into 7 courts. Those 7 courts being the spring court, the summer court, the autumn court, the winter court, the day court, the dawn court, and then the winter court. Is that 7? I just think the courts that correspond with the seasons are so cool, and I love how that was a big part of it. I love how the seasons corresponded with the holidays and corresponded with the creatures. The characters and their personalities and how they looked also correspond with the courts and the seasons, and I really loved how everyone just had such set. It was just so good. I loved it so much. Also, the creatures that were in this were also so fascinating and they were so interesting, and I love that they all had names, they all had different powers, and they all had backstories to them as well, which I just swooned. So now on to the characters. The main character, Farah, I found her to be very interesting and creative. Although some of the decisions she made in this book did make me irritated and a little nervous and anxious, I did still really enjoy it, and I found that those choices were her and wholly her. And I thought that was a very realistic situation because she was so curious and she was so outgoing. I love that she had a passion for painting, a diverse hobby, shout out to Emma Books, but it was so great to read. I loved that she had a hobby other than reading, like a lot of main characters in YA do, and I love how the passion was not just said, it was actually shown. She painted throughout this whole novel, and I found that really great, and I found that really interesting. I found her character development to be great throughout this novel, and I also really enjoyed her narrative. Her voice was very strong, and I really liked being in her head. Aside from our main character, the first person that we meet once we enter Prythian is of course the Beast, who is Tamlin. By the end of this book, Tamlin did give me all the feels. I really did enjoy him as a character. I found him to be very mysterious and brooding, and while that may sound like a negative thing, I found it very interesting and captivating, and it made me want to keep reading and learn more about him. Also, the simmer in the relationship between him and Farah was on point, my friends. I really did like it in this first book. The side characters in this book were also very captivating, mainly that being Lucian and eventually Rhysand. Lucian was another character that we met in Prythian in the Spring Court, and he is Tamlin's right-hand man slash best friend. Instantly after meeting him, I fell in love with him. I loved how snarky he was, how funny he was, and how loyal he was to Tamlin, so I found that to be very endearing and very true. And I just loved him, and you guys will too, trust me. And then a character that you meet farther into the book, but he is no doubt one of the most interesting characters in this book, is Rhysand. He is a very dark and possibly evil character, but he is captivating and beautiful, and you will just be constantly wondering what are his motives, what does he want, what drives him. You will love him. You will love all the characters in this book. You will love to hate the characters in this book. They're just all so real. As for the plot, I found it to be very gripping. It kept me in, it sucked me in. I loved how it kept me on the edge of my seat. There was never a dull spot. I loved all the revelations in this book. I loved Farah's reaction to finding out all these things. I just thought it was so well done. Like, I love fantasy, like I love this fantasy, and my overall thoughts for this book can be summed up in 2 words, and that is read this. Read it, please. I don't read fantasy all that often, but the plot and the characters just suck you in, and it is so beautifully crafted, and I cannot say enough how important this book is to me. Like, I really truly love it. Like, it is on the same level as the feels I felt after Twilight, and If you can't already tell, I give this novel 5 stars, and I would give it more if I could. Pick it up if you're a fantasy lover, pick it up if you're not. I promise you will love it either way. If you want to check out more of my thoughts on this book, I will link my spoiler discussion video up above, and I will also link below the Twitter thread I made reacting to this book with page numbers and everything. It was really great, guys. It's really funny. I think you would enjoy it. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!